Hello and welcome to the How to Make a CV guide to how many pages your CV should be, your curriculum vitae or your resume, however you choose to word it. It's a very much discussed topic within CV writing and career and industry advice. Everyone will give out different pieces of opinion on it, and to be honest, there is no absolute right answer. It really does depend on what well, a number of factors actually, all of which I'll discuss in this tutorial. First thing to point out really is that my answer is not the absolute correct answer. I can only advise you as best I can from my experience. I've seen over 10,000 CVs and reviewed over 10,000 CVs in my career myself, so hopefully my advice will be much better than most. So let's get cracking really. I'm keen to talk to you more about how many pages your CV should be. First thing to think about is a lot of it is down to your own judgment. You have to kind of judge to a degree how big you want your CV to be. It makes a lot of sense to say that if you've got a lot of experience, your CV is probably going to be slightly larger than maybe somebody quite young that's not got a lot of experience. I'm only 24 at the moment, so my CVs are sort of relatively sort of small in size, and I go into a medium level of detail in most of my CVs if I'm applying to a job. But you've got to use your judgment. Judgment's pretty important. If you can't use your judgment, then maybe you shouldn't be applying for jobs at all in the first place really. You've got to have a certain level of common sense about how many pages you want your CV to actually be. So always use your judgment in everything there. Second thing really, tailor your CV where possible. I'd always recommend tailoring your CV for absolutely every single job that you would apply for and sending it in along with your cover letter. In terms of CV size, that also should be tailored. If you think that a particular industry or particular employer will be interested in seeing more detail, or vice versa, if you think that a particular job application may be suitable to sort of summarise, be more summaritic to your CV approach and your experiences, then a smaller CV would obviously be a lot more suitable there. Again, it's all about your judgment. If you think that the industry, for example, that you're applying for a job into is that which requires a lot more detail than possibly others, then maybe you should think about adding an extra page or two of detail in the sections, particularly the most recent aspects of your experience. The example I always use really is if you are the best cleaner in the world and you're applying for cleaning jobs, you're probably not going to have a massively long CV. It's not a particularly complex job, although very important. It's not something that you're going to be able to even go a lot of detail into probably. Having said that, if you're a business change process engineer or consultant, chances are your expertise is going to be quite wide ranging, and you may need to go into quite a lot more detail, and hence probably a slightly larger CV might be advised. Obviously you've got to consider the main factors, which are your experience, what actual job type you're applying for, the industry that you're applying for, and also what you think the reader of the CV is going to be most interested in seeing. Okay. Third thing to consider, other than your judgment and considering the main factors, will be not to duplicate any experience. Don't babble. It's no good if you have got 1.5 pages of experience to detail down, if you're including all your qualifications and your personal details and hobbies, etc. It's no good sort of padding the other half page out to entail a load of crap, basically, duplications, and employers know when you're basically bullshitting them. They don't like it, and it's likely to put you in not very good stead when compared to somebody else's CV who's also applying for the same job. If yours is 2/3 true and another third duplication of what else is in the CV, try and avoid doing that. I would certainly advise that. I would always use a list approach where possible. It's always good to advise whoever it is that you're applying to your expertise in obviously a proper order. Certainly I would consider putting your newest experience first, followed by your last job, and so on and so forth. Anything that you can list and then give a slight maybe description of afterwards would be certainly advised from my point of view, in my opinion. I think it's pretty good to obviously do the appropriate formatting for that, and see how that sort of structures your CV. Be as honest as you can in your approach. Again, when it comes to CV size, if you think that your CV is too big, it probably is too big. If you think it's not detailed enough, then it probably isn't detailed enough. So be as honest as you can, and again, back to point one, use your judgment. Certainly use your judgment well. My CV is actually, in the majority of cases, 2 to 3 pages long for nearly every single job that I apply for. Now I work primarily and have worked primarily in an office environment, which means my CV is not overly technical. There's not 101 technologies to list, say if you were in an IT industry, or something like that. Having said that, it's not a cleaning job where there's probably only some very basic skills that you'll be listing. My experiences are mostly office based, as I say, and I find 2 to 3 pages has always got me sort of pretty far within the application process, enough to put me in front of the client, and then obviously demonstrating my interview abilities, that I should be the man for the job. So yeah, 2 to 3 pages I would advise, to be honest, and that's what mine's always done. It's always worked for me. Any more and you're probably risking that people may not read it all, or may just dismiss your CV altogether based on the size of the CV, and some employers do take it to that extreme. I've actually heard stories of employers not even considering whatsoever CVs that are over 2 or 3 pages. Having said that, I've seen the opposite, where if it's not being detailed enough, employers will not look at CVs that are one page. If all else fails, really, when it comes to structuring your CV, trying to decide how much and how little detail to put in your CV, I would certainly use the recommendation of having 2 to 4 pages for your CV. That would always be my advice. If you're sort of 60 years old, applying for jobs, you've got a lot of experience within a very complex market, possibly a complex industry within a complex job role, your CV is likely to be certainly a lot bigger. You might be pushing 4 or 5 pages. Having said that, if you're young, or if you're applying for a job post where you don't need to add as much detail, or even if you don't think that the person reading it is going to be interested in seeing much detail, then possibly even a 1-page summary profile will be enough for your CV. Maybe 2 pages. If you're unsure, or you would like to ask any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at howtomakeacv, all one word, lowercase, at gmail.com. You can also visit the website for the article on how big your CV should be, and my advice, where there is a poll where people can actually vote what they think about this issue. As I say, it's a very grey area within employment, within CV writing, and there is no right answer really. It's only advice that people can give, and I hope you've enjoyed my advice today. The website is howtomakeacv.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, which is howtomakeacv, all one word, or facebook.com/howtomakeacv. Hope you've enjoyed my advice. If you've got any questions whatsoever, leave comments, and subscribe if you've found it useful. Again, you can email me. Many thanks for your time.